Welcome everyone to today's webinar, Winning the Modern Furniture Buyers. I am Anthony Temperante, Head of Sales and Marketing, and with me is my colleague, Danny Lopez.
Hello, I'm Danny. I'm Head of Product in Salsita. Let's get started.
For today's agenda, we will be discussing the industry in general. We'll talk about some of the challenges the furniture manufacturers are facing and some of the barriers, and then we'll give some live examples of how these customers, partners of ours, are leveraging a 3D configurator to success. And then, of course, we'll finish on the future of the industry. A couple key trends to kick things off are, or some key statistics are that 42% of buyers, furniture buyers, are specifically looking for customized products. I don't think that comes to surprise as anyone this day, in this day and age. But obviously customization or the ability to customize, whether it's the full end-to-end of the product or just different aspects or different components. But it is a trend that's growing. The second key statistic is 70% of shoppers are still, or not still, but continuing to want to shop online or at least start their purchase online.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure this number is growing, and the number of people who are buying on mobile are growing as well.
Exactly. Mobile, tablets, it's all in our pockets these days and right in front of us. All right, next let's discuss some of the barriers, Danny, that we see with our customers and within the industry.
Tony, thank you. The thing is that when you are trying to sell custom furniture online or anywhere, like people are expecting actually to know what they are going to get, right? So they want to see the product as it's going to be like, right? They don't want to see, a picture of this, but okay, it's going to be like this sofa. Just imagine it like twice as long and like blue instead of green and like that. They want to see exactly what they're going to get, and that's sometimes challenging to produce. And again, you want the product logic to be enforced. If you need to add the support every meter, then you want the support to be there. You don't want the user to even care about these things. You don't want the user to generate a piece of furniture that doesn't work, and you don't want to have like any mistakes in that logic. You don't want to sell something that cannot be produced, as well as quoting the product accurately, right? Once some products are pretty complex, I've seen like these very big spreadsheets with all the numbers. It's very easy to make mistakes, and people expect to see the price now, right? They want to know what they're getting, how much they're paying for, and everything.
The CPQ or configure price quote, visually is becoming paramount, right? It's something that is needed, it's expected. You don't want to get the price after you've gone through and put it all the way in the cart and found out there's some additional costs. I think some other barriers are to continue on when we're talking about what they see. It's the high quality visuals. It has to be precise. It has to really measure what they want. There's also integration, right? I mean, that's a big topic.
Yeah, exactly. Like you expect this to be, once you have it in the configurator, or once you have it, you would expect the furniture to be already, they can add it to the cart, buy it into the e-commerce platform. You expect this, usually for manufacturing, you need like a complex, bill of materials, or even like CAD files, or like many types of outputs from that. And again, this is something that's like difficult to do, or takes a lot of manual effort to do if you're doing it manually. And which makes cuts into your costs, like reduces how much you can scale. It takes longer for you to get back to the customer, makes the sales cycles longer, and so on, right? Yeah. And as we were saying, the customers expect to see it. Like right now, they don't want to wait like 2 or 3 days. I've seen websites, they have a form like describe what you want, and we will get back to you in 2 to 3 business days. And nobody wants to wait 2 to 3 business days.
Not a good customer experience,
right? The customer was right about to buy the thing from you, and you just introduce this. By 2 to 3 business days, they're gone probably, right?
Yeah, and if you think about that natural flow, coming back to, as you said, people are going to be shopping on their mobile, right? So that's an instant thing, right? You pull it out of your pocket. You're scrolling, you're surfing, and then next thing you find the product you want, you customize it, you're actually tweaking the right things, and you're having these expectations, you're seeing the price change, so you're not going to be surprised later. That experience has to be end-to-end and has to be supported end-to-end.
Yeah, like all these things, like you can do it manually, but if you do it manually, you need to hire a lot more, sales reps or designers, or like somebody who to talk to the customer to prepare the quotes and all of that. So, at some point it doesn't scale. You cannot double the team if you want to double the sales, right?
Exactly. And scaling isn't just on the internal side. It's also on the, you want to be showing new products, new trends. Most people's products lines or their SKUs continue to grow or adjust and change. So not only do you need to be able to have a back end that supports that, right? But you also have to have the front end so it easily is or seamless for the customers to see new products as it grows. Let's jump into a real world example. With Kilo. They are a furniture company based out of the Netherlands. I think this is a great example to show some of these key topics or some of these barriers that they had, but now that are starting to be resolved and the benefits that they're seeing.
Yeah, so Kilo is, there's two interesting things about Kilo to mention here. Like one of them is that they build this furniture from a CNC machine, right? So it's just like the pieces that you can see.
So it's and it's also integrated with the CNC.
Yeah, it's also completely integrated, right? So like they make these wooden pieces. I will show you the configurator we built for them. So yeah, like they make these wooden pieces. You basically cut them into pieces, and that's what you're gonna get in your shopping cart once you deliver it. All the pieces like that, and of course you can make them. It's completely configurable up to the millimeter. And there is no screws, there is no glue, there is no, you just, click them together and they work together, right? And we can see here like a Kilo bar. And by the way, they provide us with a sample after we finish the project. So, if you want to see how this looks in real life, that's it. This is a special color only for Salsita. So, you cannot order it. You can order something slightly different. It's Salsita red. So
yeah, of course.
it's exclusive. Otherwise, they offer six other colors. And okay, this one is pretty simple, but it can get pretty complex as well. They have 30 something products, I think now, and they keep introducing new products occasionally. But I'm going to show you one of the more complex ones, which is the kilometer. It's this shelving system. Right, and it's all completely parametric. You can make it up to the millimeter. You make it higher, it's gonna add more.
And when you make it bigger, or like you said, higher or wider, then we have the CPQ, and it's actually instant. It's live, and it actually it flashes, right? So the customer it's not sort of hidden. So the CPQ here is quite powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And you can go and see if I reduce the height a lot, it reduces the number of shelves, and now the price is a lot smaller. And then it's completely modular as well. You can go to a shelf and say, okay, I'm editing the top shelf. I want to make it taller, but I want on the bottom shelf. I'm gonna cut out a part of it so that they have more space here.
Yeah, I want to have
a lot of
storage
add-ons.
Box, or maybe even slide in a TV or something bigger. Yeah.
And then you as before you add it to the cart. It goes to e-commerce, they are using WooCommerce. We can use any e-commerce platform, and then the magic starts, or the magic continues maybe, because then you can see in the order panel, right? That's all the things that people have ordered. This is the test one, so it's not real, but this is all the things that people have ordered. The Kilo administrators come here and say, okay, I want to produce something, one of the red, a set of the red pieces, right? So they select them and say, okay, I'm gonna go click here and nest them. Then you can see, right? That's how this is gonna be produced. They have multiple plates of wood, and you can see, right? These are all the pieces that are gonna be there, and the pieces are optimized, placed so that the minimum amount of waste of material is wasted. And you click that, and then you're able to download the CAD file that can be sent directly to the CNC machine, produce it, and that's it. The Kilo employees don't have to do almost anything, just a couple clicks, then make sure it gets sent to the customer, and their job is done, and the money is in the bank.
Yeah, and I think a couple things to kind of go back on there is, that back end piece, that nesting, right? That's really very helpful, and expedites the back end and the operations for the company themselves. So this isn't a Kilo only. This is something that all customers can have. It's a really powerful feature, and it reduces, like you mentioned, the errors, the back and forth. So from that end-to-end process again, going from the customer first designing and then ordering, now that then actually shipping and transferring or transporting. That's really ability to nest is quite helpful. And when you have that reduction in errors, or you're really reducing the errors, and you can see what's going to be happening, then when a customer gets that final product, let's just say they're going to be very likely very happy with what they ordered, because they cut it to the millimeter, or they designed it to the millimeter. They, cut out maybe the piece where they wanted to, right? So they could see it all. They saw the price, and then of course when they get it, it matches perfectly with what they.
Yeah, they made it themselves. It's the exact product as they wanted exactly, and that's what they're gonna get in the mail.
So I will jump in now, and I'd like to give an example of one of our customers called L'Atelier. This example is going to be showcasing AI. Wouldn't it be a proper webinar if we did not dive deeper into some of these, great examples of how AI is helping businesses, specifically within the furniture industry. So what we have here is a kitchen range, and I think for the audience to fully understand, L'Atelier has showrooms, but they can't be everywhere. And if you can't be everywhere, then you have to have the best online experience. So number one, a 3D configurator, of course, right? Great online experience. Now, their products are a little bit more complex, and so the value here is we created an AI assistant for them. So imagine you're in the showroom. Now you can actually talk to that showroom assistant. It is an AI assistant, but it will act and function that way. And so in this example, I will click Help Me Design My Range, because I'm not very, good at designing kitchen ranges.
Yeah, that's why it's there, right? To emulate what would happen when you go to the store.
Exactly. So when you're in that showroom, you're actually presented with a very typical experience, right? So imagine you go to the showroom, and you've kind of you started with a preset. So in this case, we have the wall range. I didn't pick an island, for example. But if I was talking to the actual showroom professional, they would typically ask, okay, well, what kind of color are you looking for? What's the setting of your own kitchen? Is it bright? Is it dark? And in this case here, they're presenting with some palettes, right, of some simple colors. So we'll go with blue. And then after the blue, then it says, okay, we have 3 standard styles. They have the La Classique, they have transitional, and contemporary. And so I can actually click within the chat to see it change. So this is what we call the hybrid. So you can actually click, change, and I will, in this case, I'll go with transitional. And also you can see the price will change as you're picking it. So back to CPQ.
And you can see the style change as soon as you selected it, right? So you can see immediately what's it going to do.
I have a big space in my kitchen, so I put it to a preset between 80 to 100 inches. And I will say I want to spend up to 100,000. And once I do that, voila, no hands. It actually executed, added the hood, added some more space, and now I have my, kitchen range. Of course, I'm not done. The assistant now actually says, would you like to modify? Would you like to change some things? So here, we can have some fun.
Yeah, you can add whatever you want. You don't have to follow the prompts, right? You say, I know you host very fancy wine parties, right?
Of course.
So, of course, every week, right? So you can tell it and see what it suggests for you.
All right. So I like hosting wine parties. And in this case, I'm not even asking, I'm just describing myself, right? And you can ask it, you can do anything. And here it jumps into, it says add a wine storage, which, by the way, you can manually go to the add component, right? And you can scroll and you can look. So there is the classic configurator UX.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can still see all the options that right there. You can see
exactly.
what happens. There's details for descriptions and everything, but you can have this other alternative to do that.
And what it did very nicely is, because I gave it a rule, right? I said 80 to 100 inches. Mm-hmm. And so the assistant doesn't just add it automatically. It wants to qualify. Mm-hmm. Because can you imagine if I actually really only have 100 inches and I add all this and then it wouldn't be what I wanted. So I will actually say ignore the width and we'll go a little bit bigger, and then there it is. Mm-hmm. And I think just to reemphasize, the price is updated. Yeah. So you can see that. So now I'm up to $65,000. And I think what's also very nice here with not just the AI assistant, but it's modular.
Yeah, and it's completely modular and completely parametric, right? If you select the cabinets,
Mm-hmm.
And you can resize them. You can move each component from one side to the other for whatever you want.
So now I'm stretching it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I've got it now to almost 30 inches.
Mm-hmm. And like if you make it smaller, even like the handle will change into a knob, right? So you will see that, you know, if you have like such a small space, you don't want the whole handle because it doesn't fit, right? So you will just pull it from the
Yep, that's very nice.
From the knob,
that's
so it follows all the rules as usual.
Exactly. And then, you know, going back to the, you know, the assistant, I think it's what's very powerful here is I kind of touched upon it before, but it has that ability to execute, right? So I can again just describe feelings. I can give it just one word. I can talk to it, you know, as if it is a full real person, and, you know, go on and go on and go on, and it will actually execute, or it will give advice, or it will go back to the catalog and the rules and tell you what is available or not available. So I think that's a really powerful example of how AI is helping the sales cycle, right? But it's also helping the company, right, with the brand, the values, answering questions, and it is keeping me here. Yeah, it's not a chat that then sends me off to somewhere else. I am still within the buying experience. So I'm not abandoning the middle of my buying, of my shopping. There's no cart abandonment here. So I think that's really cool. I think just to show a few more AI things, you know, in this example, what's a kitchen without a sink, right? So you want to, of course, add a sink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It also responds to the most simple prompt, right? You can just tell it to do the thing and it will do the thing.
Yes. And so here, again, because I have the rule, so I'm going to tell it to, you know, ignore the width because I want to make it even bigger. And now here it is. Mm-hmm. Got plopped in. And I can say, oh, you know, move it to the left. And so I don't have to drag. It went all the way to the left. So imagine you're on your phone. You know, if you want to dictate, you want to speak to it, same thing, right? So you can actually have that very, very nice UX experience. Okay, so now the sink is all the way to the left, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, actually, yeah, I really do love all that countertop space, but I actually would like maybe a little more countertop space next to the sink itself. Mm-hmm. So now I have moved the griddle over on the other side of the burners, and now I have a little bit of countertop space right next to the sink. Mm-hmm. So I have now a nice layout, exactly how I want it.
Like some things are easier to just do, like by dragging and dropping, right? You don't have to tell the AI exactly how you want. You can choose both and combine it. Yep. One of the nice things about having a configurator as well like this is the analytics, right? We can have like analytics events for every single interaction. So you can know, like, you know, if the users click on this, click on that, like which options are like the most, you know, chosen, which options like are maybe less popular, or, you know, optimize the flow to see, okay, like people are asking these things to the AI, and, you know, maybe like I want like it to respond in a like slightly different way, or like want like it to, you know, promote another product or something like that. So
marketing and product teams will love this.
Exactly. Yeah. You can optimize this based on the actual, you know, usage of the real users that you have on the site.
Yep. And then when I'm done, or if I'm not done, I have the share. So I can actually now take this design that I have made and I can go share it with my friends and family. And the last thing is, of course, I can go to the review and I could submit it, and then the sales rep will contact me back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You're going to get an email, you and L'Atelier, and the sales rep will, you know, it generates like very beautiful PDF with like photorealistic images of the range, and you can, you know, sales rep takes it from there, right? Nobody's going to buy like $100,000 from the credit card.
Not very.
At least not yet.
All right, now let's jump into ROI. We touched many of these points before, but let's just make it really simple. You're going to have faster sales cycle. Why are you going to have faster sales cycle? As we mentioned, you go end to end, but your sales reps or your, you know, the online, you know, shopping experience is going to be so much faster without all the extra overhead, right? So we talked about scaling. We talked about how you can get the products that they want. So this is a big factor here. The other, I think, another example of this is the operational cost, right? The overhead. You don't need as many designers per se, or you don't need people to spend as much time. So
you don't even need salespeople necessarily, or less salespeople to address a bigger market, right?
So if you grow geographically, so you don't need to have sales reps everywhere. If you have the AI assistant, it can speak, you know, almost any language. So you don't have to hire the sales reps in all these different geos. And again, coming back to like the operations, customer support, if you have questions or your customers have these questions, you don't have to have all these online assistants answering or going through all these emails, right? It can be answered right away, and the customer then can quickly move on and continue their buying experience. So there is this, you know, savings of operational costs.
Yeah, and as well for manufacturing as well, right? Like with the kilo example, they did all this work manually. That's a lot of work that they don't need to do anymore. Like they just click, wait 30 seconds for the pieces to nest, and it's done. They don't have to work, to care about it. They could handle 100 orders a day if they wanted.
So you can imagine if you had all those. Imagine you had all those different people there, right? So you had the different people without the direct integration, right? So if you have more people, you're typically prone to more errors, right? So now you have this. This is why we keep talking about less errors, right? Like this is what we're talking about. In that whole process, when you are actually eliminating some of the human elements, right, then you are reducing the errors. And so that is a big that's a big ROI, but it works on both ends, right? So you can increase the sales, but you can be reducing your OpEx. And again, if you're in charge of marketing, or product, you want the analytics, right? So more data means better product placement, right? Or upselling. And if you're doing the marketing, you want to be able to take the videos, you want to take GIFs, you want to take the screenshots, and then put this out across your different social platforms or your different channels, and be able to get to your target audience, right? To go in within your domain and actually show them what they want. So I think that's a very powerful way to get your products in front of them. The customers see it, they customize their own, and they're buying. And I think that's a very simplistic way, but it's what's working. All right, and last we'll talk about the future trends, right? And you can't spell furniture without future. So a couple things that we have uncovered. We did some research over the course of the year, and one thing is 76% of potential customers are open to AI assistance. So this is just a growing trend. I don't think anybody is shocked by this.
Yeah, like everyone is using ChatGPT and a lot of other similar tools. A lot more. They know what to expect. They know what to, they work. So they're happy to have it in their shopping experience as well.
Mm-hmm. And obviously you still have to maintain your brand, right? So if you want to have a good brand, right, you have to have a nice experience. So you have to have this nice aesthetic, the visuals, the CPQ, these little things that actually help your brand, because 80% of potential shoppers still find this very important, right? That you're not just sort of bait and switching. You're not giving them everything that they can potentially see. And lastly, 71% are expecting to have that personal element, right? To have that minute, whether it's a small element like in the kilo shelves, like just changing or cutting something out, or the ability, with L'Atelier, you're moving the sink, or I want to have different countertop space. That expectations of the personal touch is really important. Thank you everyone for attending. If you would like to learn more, please send an email and happy to give a demo, or you can see us at salsita.ai.
Thank you. See you later.